Hi, I'm Caitlin, and this is Book Chats. This week's Top 5 Wednesday is Top 5 Books That Feature Traveling. So I'm really excited because yesterday I spent several hours going through and rearranging all of my books and adding all the books that I bought when I lived in DC, and I was able to pull all of my books this week from my shelves. Here are my top 5 books that feature traveling. So book number 1 I love so much because it no longer has a cover. It's The Horse and His Boy by C.S. Lewis. So this is the 5th book that C.S. Lewis wrote in the Chronicle of Narnia, but chronologically it occurs, I believe, between The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and Prince Caspian. Basically, this book is about a boy who lives in a country that is not Narnia, who kind of has a crappy living situation, and he meets a Narnian horse. And of course, all the animals in Narnia are they can talk, and they are very anthropomorphized. That Narnian horse is like, hey, I hate being here. I got stolen away. I am not like these dumb other horses that can't talk and do anything and are workers. So I want to go back to Narnia, but I can't just go alone because someone's going to be like, what's that random horse doing walking to Narnia? He convinces the boy to go with him, and so they can escape to Narnia together. And during that traveling they do to Narnia, a bunch of different things happen, and there's some adventures that are had, and it's just a really fun book. I consider it kind of probably to be the least allegorical of the Narnia books, and one of the most traditionally fantasy kind of books. And so I really enjoy this book. Clearly, I've read it a lot. Book number 4 is another book that I read when I was younger and really enjoyed. I think I read this one in middle school, so not 80 times. This is Joan Bauer's Rules of the Road. I don't know if you can see there. This is a book where basically the main character is a high schooler who sells shoes. She's really good at selling shoes, and she gets hired by the owner of the shoe company that she works for to be her driver for the summer, and they road trip to where the shareholders meeting is being held. And during that road trip, she just learns a lot of things about herself. She learns a lot about the owner of the shoe conglomerate thing, and just about life and how to deal with her family and some issues that they have. And so I really enjoyed this book. So book number 3 is one that I can't tell you very much about because it's one of those books that is better to go in as blind as possible. So things about this book I can tell you. It's a Newbery Honor book. The author was influenced by kind of Greek and Roman society, but is not set in our world, so it is not set in Greek and Roman society, but you might kind of recognize some flavors of that. And it is a great, twisty, turny mind trip book, which I love. I love these books. That's why you shouldn't know a lot about this book going in, because there are descriptions all over online that accidentally spoil key plot points in the books for you. It's a series, and the series title is a spoiler for this first book. If you read the descriptions of the next books in the series, it'll spoil major plot points of the previous books. If you read them out of order, it spoils different things, but then the author on her website is well, the first book spoils the third book if you read them in order. So anyway, it's The Thief by Megan Whalen Turner. Not in love with this cover, but really great book. Basically, thief brags that he can steal anything, and then some things go missing from the king's treasury, so he gets arrested because he stole them, and he bragged about being able to steal anything, so of course they suspected him. This book opens when he is being given an offer to kind of win some time off his sentence by thieving something for the king and the king's advisor. And so that group, there's a very small group of people that go on a journey and travel to get to the thing he has to steal. So that is where traveling is involved. It has so many great things happening, and it's basically about a lot of things happen while they're traveling with this thief to steal the thing, which describing it that way actually makes it sound like my number 2 book. Of course, another book about burglars traveling is The Hobbit. I actually first read The Hobbit when I was very young and really enjoyed it. And I really feel like The Hobbit is a children's book. I think you should read it to your children. Maybe it's not so easy for children to read themselves. My little sister bought me this beautiful copy that matches some of my copies of The Lord of the Rings. If you don't know about The Hobbit, I don't know what rock you've been hiding under. Basically, Bilbo Baggins is a hobbit, and he is recruited to be a burglar because of his friend Gandalf, who thinks that he should be a burglar, or who really thinks that he needs to add some travel into his life and excitement, because hobbits are known for being very, like, stay at home, don't ever leave. And so he goes on this long journey with these dwarves, learns a lot about himself along the way, and learns about them, and also finds a ring. Number 1 book that features traveling, and actually this is a trilogy. I'm only going to show you the third book because I only own the third book. I have a signed copy, but this whole trilogy, traveling is a huge part of it, and I like this trilogy a lot, and the traveling is pretty awesome as, like, part of it, and it is the Leviathan trilogy by Scott Westerfeld. I own Goliath, which is the third book. Basically, this is a steampunk alternate World War I about a war between the clankers, who use technology to improve their lives and world, and the Darwinists, who engineer animals to be basically like machines. And so there is a giant airship, which is a beast. It is a live beast that is an airship that is hugely featured in all 3 of these books, goes like all over Europe and then crosses the Atlantic, and it's just a great series and has some great travel involved. And it's also illustrated. If you didn't know that, it has these beautiful illustrations all throughout all 3 books, and these beautifully illustrated end papers. If you enjoy steampunk, you should definitely give it a shot, although it's not really traditional steampunk because it is set in World War I, not during the Victorian era. But if you're like, I've never tried steampunk and I'm not sure if I would like it, I would still consider giving it a go because you might find out that you like it. Those are my top 5 books that feature traveling. What books that feature traveling do you enjoy? And have you read and enjoyed any of the books that I've mentioned here today? Also, what's your favorite book that you've read while traveling, if you can remember? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Bye. Today's Top 5 Wednesday is Top 5 Most Frustrating Characters.